Stop restarting and start becoming the women that you desire to be. Eryn Kubinski is joining me today from Colorado, and she's going to share a daily practice that helps you to step into a new identity. While you're fighting the same battles with willpower, discipline, and fresh starts, Eryn is rewiring the 95% subconscious mind that has been sabotaging you all along. Because here's what they don't tell you: a strong body can never compensate for an untrained mind. And you don't need another fresh start. What you need is to become the woman who never has to start over again. I'm Jennifer Regular, the host of Awaken and Ascend. This is the place where I get to play and have transformational conversations with change makers from all around the world. And I'm so excited to welcome you, Eryn, joining us from Colorado. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to this conversation and sharing my passion with your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. The audience, I am so grateful for each and every one of you joining us today as well. And Eryn, I know that your mission here on Earth is really to make this world a healthier place. And I'm so grateful for your leadership in that. But I'm curious about what actually lit the path for you.
So I have always just valued health. Like since I was a little girl, like when I was young, I was athletic. I was a gymnast, an aspiring, Mary Lou Retton. I was back in those days, and I just wanted to help people get better. And the thing that stands out the most is I had a great uncle who had Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and I would show up to visit him, on a regular basis and just get him moving. Like, your body needs to move. And then through that process, I ended up becoming a physical therapist, and I was a physical therapist for about 20 years, and I still practice a little on the side for friends and family.
Mhm.
But I discovered that like it's really like more important like how you train your brain and how you um, use your brain is more important. And as an athlete, I really could see the benefit of it. And yeah, and then I guess what really got me into this whole identity work was when I quit drinking a few years ago. The whole journey of like day ones and all the day ones, right? And when I
Mhm.
finally put all the day ones and the restarting over, and I decided just to become someone who doesn't drink, that was the identity shift for me. And I was explaining this to somebody this week, like, I honestly think being labeled as an alcoholic is what kept me drinking
Yeah.
because I didn't want to be labeled. And I don't allow people to label me. And I've had some people try to label me, and I'm like, that's fine, whatever. That makes it like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't label as that. I don't label as sober. I don't count the days. I just am somebody who doesn't drink. And that identity shift is what I take into my practice with helping women really release the weight that they don't want to carry because they start to identify with it and they start to justify it and they start to just become that person who maybe it's like, oh, I'm just this way because of my genes, or that's the way my mom was, right? Or this is just who I am. And I challenge my clients to step out of that identity and
Mhm.
into one that is light and refreshing and whatever that is, right? Like it's not to be a certain way, but it's to be so comfortable in your own body and letting go of that self-judgment, right? Like for me it was like I don't want to be labeled as an alcoholic, but I don't want to drink anymore, but
Mhm.
I don't want to be people to think I have a problem, right? Like, so how do you just normalize it?
Mhm.
Well, you start with yourself. It has to be normal for me, it has to be normal for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I hear you. I remember when I've explored a lot of different 12-step rooms, you can say. And when I would accompany my partner at the time to an AA meeting, for example, each person would get up there and say, I'm so and so and I'm an alcoholic. And I almost contract and cringe. I'm like, that doesn't define you. That's not who you are.
Yeah, you're so
That's
much more.
exactly, you're so much more than that. And so why start with that? That's not who you are. That doesn't define you. That's not your identity. And so I really feel you when you're saying that, and then choosing, like, all the change happened at that pivotal moment that you made a decision that I don't want to drink anymore. This isn't how I want to be showing up in the world. Isn't how I want to be living my life. And then knowing what it is that you desire, like when you're not drinking, then what does life look like? And I find a lot of people have a hard time sometimes understanding what a sober life would look like, and not just talking about alcohol and other addictions, food. You mentioned that as well. When I think too about restarting, in that kind of program as well, but then also for entrepreneurs, and
Mhm.
career and starting over again. And you start and you're always getting ready to get ready to get ready for becoming this other person. And what's really getting in the way, I hear you saying, is this 95% subconscious brain. So it makes a lot of sense to start there. What is the brain know that we don't know and controls the show, right? How do we begin to work with that? How do we begin to recognize what our subconscious mind is doing and how it's sabotaging?
So that's a great question. So one, it's on autopilot, right? So it's like your car on autopilot, right? Like you're not in control. And so everything happens when you become aware. Well, how do you become aware? Well, one, having somebody on the other side of the conversation that's listening is one way, right? So like when I talk to a client, I'm like, do you realize what you just said? Like what you just said probably has 10 thoughts behind it. It could
Mm.
be like, um, I had somebody say the other day, I'm just not somebody who has habits. And I was like, oh, you have habits. Right? She was, and
Wow.
so then,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, so you identify this like health habit as like, I'm not somebody who has habits. So then we kind of started unraveling it, right? So when you have somebody on the other side listening to what you're actually saying, another thing that I hear people say is like, you know, I'm just someone who carries extra weight. What
Mhm.
are you? Because if you think that, yes, because I always say like, if you think you can, and if you think you can't, you can't. I think it's Henry Ford said that. Um, and you got to stop saying that. I
Mm.
mean, do you want to be that person that carries the extra weight? Then keep saying it. But if you don't, like, let it go, right?
Yeah.
And like with the Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Like I love AA. I'm not like, if it works for you, great.
Mhm.
It's a great resource for people. But if it doesn't feel good for you, there are other ways than
Right.
identifying as that. Like I just identify as somebody who loves drinking water.
Mm. Yeah. You're a drinker
Yeah,
of water.
because that was one of the verbiage that I was like, this just doesn't, I don't drink. Oh, I drink plenty. I drink all
Ah.
the time. Like I
Uh-huh.
do. I drink, I always have a drink with me. Like I am a drinker. I just don't drink alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing then is really your thoughts, starting there, recognizing what you're saying, that self-talk and the thoughts and the beliefs that are there and emerging and kind of feeding into, because our thoughts carry energy, changes into
Mhm.
our whole energetic field. So looking at what's in our field, what's the environment that we've created, what kind of conditions are supporting or not supporting the way that we're living
Right.
in the
So
world. Yeah.
there's and then there's the people that are like, I don't really have thoughts. So then that's where the conversation really can pull out the thoughts.
Mhm. Okay.
But what you do have is emotions.
Mm.
Like, and some people really struggle with finding their emotion too, right? So like thoughts and emotions, I kind of feel like they go together.
Mhm.
Um, so if somebody's not feeling the thought, because the thought may be so ingrained in your head, it's something you say every day for thousands of days, right? So when you then tap into like, well, what are you feeling, right? So I do a lot of like emotion based goals
Mm.
and tapping in how you actually want to feel. So not necessarily like the outcome doesn't necessarily have to be a SMART goal and measurable. Yes, it's nice to have and it's something to track, but on the bigger side of it is how do you really want to feel?
Mhm. Yeah, I love that, because when we look at, for example, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right, that came
Mhm.
about many years ago, and there's a lot of controversy around it these days. But when we look at that, like the first main pillars, the foundational things are all based on deficiency needs. So right away, we're like not feeling good enough, right, and trying to compensate for something, and then just running this self-perpetuating cycle of always improving and trying to meet some certain goal or expectation, and not getting to the higher levels of the purpose and beauty and connecting with the world and ourselves, and how do we actually feel. And we get up to those self-esteem needs, and then beyond that is more into self-actualization, true self-discovery, identity, really getting to know, like, and trust yourself super,
Mhm.
super well, and recognizing what you are carrying around. So I love that because you mentioned that a few times. It's not just like this weight loss, it's like, what are you carrying?
Yeah,
What are you carrying? Yeah.
yeah. Because really, like, that's what's weighing you down. It's not necessarily the physical weight, but the emotional weight of whatever it is you're carrying around.
Yeah.
When you
So
can
being
let
able
that,
to release that, and then there's the growth needs. When you get beyond the deficiency needs, right, of the not being good
right.
enough, there's the growth needs. And you develop this whole daily practice that I think can really get us into supporting what our needs are for growth and well-being and true health.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what is the daily? Because I saw there was little dots between each of the letters. So there must be like
Okay,
a
so
5-step
pull
thing.
out your pen and paper
Here
because
we
this
go.
is a
Here we
keeper.
go, people.
So it's the daily practice of stepping into your identity you want to become.
I love it.
So every day you do this. And, this is what I learned in my drinking journey, right? Like letting go of alcohol. So the very first one is D. D is for decide. Decide means cut off all other options. So if you're going to decide not to drink today, that has to be like real, right? Like today's, I'm not, and it maybe if just around drinking or food or, sugar, if it's not a day, maybe it's for the hour, right? Like it can be an hourly habit, right? So you want to decide. You make your decision, you cut off all the other options. Then A is align. So you want to get in alignment with your decision, right? You want to pull in the whys, the that feeling part, right? So you want to align that to your decision. Then you want to integrate, and this is kind of my favorite one, the integrate, is acting as if, right? But it's not acting as if in the moment. So let's say you were really trying to give up sugar, and every day at 6 o'clock you tend to like go for a sweet treat, and you decide from 6 to 7, I'm just going to postpone it for an hour, right? Well, at 6 p.m. or at 5:45 or at 5:30 or 3 o'clock, whatever, a few hours before,
Hmm.
you're going to say it out loud. No, no thanks. I don't want any sugar today. I'm not in the mood. And you're going to practice it out loud. So my practice in my drinking journey was while I was getting dressed to go to the bar because I was putting myself intentionally into triggering places.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yes, I would love something to drink. I would love a glass of sparkling water in a wine glass with a slice of lemon, please. With no shame, no embarrassment, and just a
Yeah.
lot of good energy. So you like, if you bring the energy into the practice before you're in there, that's really important. So that's integrate.
Hmm.
So D.A.I.L. is for love. We always want to lead with love,
Hmm.
right? We are all human. We all make mistakes. And when we do, when we fall off the path or we trip and fall, we just gently pick our best friend up and tell her to get back on the journey, which then leads right into Y, which is yield. The best time to do it is right now. We're getting on a 6-lane freeway in LA, and you're just going to yield your way on. Don't wait another day, don't wait another minute, and you just keep practicing daily over and over.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. And I want to go back to a word, a very powerful word that I know is quite activating for people, and that's about shame. Shame.
Mm,
Because
yeah,
shame is a huge culprit of many problems, many of
yes.
our problems. Also, our self esteem, our self worth, guilt, putting us back on that cycle of having to restart again, and, carrying that shame around, and
Mhm,
also healing shame I've spoken about before, and how it relates to imposter syndrome, even, and shame being the true imposter, the
mhm.
one that imposes itself and sabotages and makes us think that we're less than or not comparable to others, and so how do you help women in the where your work with that shame? How do you navigate that shame?
Well, I share my story because that was my biggest hurdle. Like and I can really put it into like, I didn't want to be called an alcoholic. Well,
Mm.
the deeper layer was every morning that I had made a promise to myself the night before, I would wake up and, while I was having my coffee, just berate myself, right? Like so much like hatred towards why can't I do this? Why am I successful in every other area of my life? What's wrong with me? Like, and just, a nice, you know, beating up of of self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I started a meditation practice, and two things came out of it, right? That berating of myself, that inner critic, that self-judgment really quieted down. It's still there. It's just a lot quieter, and I can like turn it down really easily. But also the meditation practice showed me I had severe Raynaud's where like one part of my finger would just go white like it was dead. And it's a stress response. So when I did this long meditation practice, I quieted my judge, and then I was supposed to like accomplish some other goals during that 6 months of meditating. Didn't happen. But I was like, the weirdest thing happened is my Raynaud's is like gone. And I
Oh.
thought I was going to live with it for life, and it was continuously getting worse. And then I was like, wow, this is like really like manages your stress. And this is one part of life, that we don't know how to really measure. Like we have symptoms of stress,
Mm-hmm.
and there's lots of different symptoms of stress, but there's nothing to really say like, what's your stress meter? You can't get on a scale and measure the stress. So learning that that was a result of just taking out a whole bunch of stress in my life was huge. So did the quieting the judge decrease the stress? For sure. Because who
Amazing.
wants to be berated all the time?
Yes. Yeah, we got to switch the flip on that, change the narrative, right?
Yeah.
Change the narrative. And so, what is your work with women? What do you do exactly?
So I'm a really big advocate of, with my science background, like we're all in of one. Nobody is meant to go into a program or a process. And I believe we all know our inner knowing better than any test out there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very organic. I'm very much listen to what is working, and let's take what's working and move forward. Let's listen to what your inner wisdom says. So I do a lot of like visualization, tapping into your wiser elder self, tapping into your inner child, and then finding your path. And we can test things out, and we can try things on, and we just go on a journey that creates this way to your new identity of what you really want to be. That's why you come to me, because you want to make some changes. You just need somebody to help keep guiding you and showing you the map. And then at the end of the journey, you get your map. This is all the work we did. This is what works. This is what we tried. You could try it again if you'd like, but and these are the tools that works for you to help you stay on your path.
Yeah, it does. And that map gives you the direction and the support along the path. And I love that you kept doing this because it shows you the path is not linear, people. It's
No,
going to
it's
go back and forth, and you can expect that, right? That there's going to be pivots, there's going to be some, couple step forward, step backwards. That's going to happen. And that's okay. You're still on the path, you're still moving in the right direction. And it's important to continue to stay focused on those strengths and what's working and to keep it at that. And the rest of it tends to just dissolve and resolve on its own. I find. Have you found that too on the journey, Eryn, that, things you were worried about before just kind of take care of themselves once we let it go?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like a lot of my clients come to me overwhelmed. I've done everything, I've tried everything, I'm tired, of trying something new, nothing sticks. So the overwhelm of like all the noise
Yeah.
out there in the wellness
Mm-hmm.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like they leave with a new level of self-trust
Ah,
and self-confidence and
mm-hmm.
that self-love.
Yes. Yes. And becoming the women they desire to be, that new identity, new way of identifying with
Yeah.
yourself. And so, how would people connect with you if they want to learn more or maybe even meet with you?
Yeah, so best way is through my website,
Okay.
adventuresofhealth.com, because it's an adventure on your health.
Yes.
And from there, you can book a call with me, a complimentary call, and we can discuss like what it would look like to work together. Um, and then I am on Facebook quite a bit on my personal page on at Eryn Kubinski. I do like Facebook Lives and share a lot of stuff there. So, and then I'm also on LinkedIn. So I'm on TikTok and Instagram, but I would say Facebook is like the best place
The main
to get.
place. Okay. Well, we'll have all those links in the video description below. So we'll make it really easy. So any of you tuning in right now can simply go there and click in and find out more about Eryn. Speaking of maps, you'll also find the Sacred Leaders Compass down there because outside of this podcast, I'm bringing people through an 11-week portal into from their career into their calling through the path of sacred leadership. And the Sacred Leaders Compass is a really wonderful place to start, where we start looking actually at those old identities and what kind of lived experience you're moving into now and how to embody that and what kind of direction to take and what would support you in that. So that's available free for you down in the video description below. So make sure you check that out as well. Eryn, while we have you here, I've been really enjoying this conversation, and I'm curious if there was anything else that you wanted to share with us in the audience today.
One thing I'm doing right now, it's not available. I already signed everybody up, but I have this program called 67 Days of Becoming Her, and I'm really enjoying it.
Oh,
So it's about just habit change. It's about learning how habits are formed. It's not around anything specific. So, like, after I take my beta group through, I'll probably relaunch it. But I'm creating it with my beta group, and I'm just having fun. Like, yeah,
yes. Having fun. It's the best
yeah.
place to be, having fun. Absolutely. That's kind of like an attitude way of. I remember being asked once about what do you do for fun? And I had to think about it just maybe for a second. I'm like, I actually have fun no matter what I'm doing. Like it's just more more
You
of
know,
the
I'm glad you
energy I
said
bring
that.
into things. Yeah.
Yeah, because that is a habit that we don't think about. Is like we have a habit of thinking. So
Yeah.
the 67 days of becoming heard is more of like a physical habit, right? Like that we're learning about. But in my work, it's about habits of thinking, right? So to shift your identity, you have to change the way you think.
Yeah.
And we're if you decide, like I think gratitude is such a great like change of habit of how you think, right? So having a gratitude habit or having a happiness habit, right? And if you're joyful at everything you do, like
And it'll be
that's one.
fun.
Yeah, and that's one thing I tell people, like, look, you get to decide which lens you want to look through. So we can look
That's
through the
right.
gray lens or we can look
Yeah.
through the pink lens. Like,
Yes. You
pick
get
the
to play.
lens.
Yeah, see
Yeah.
how differently life looks through each of those lenses and then choose the one that brings you the most joy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been such a joy having you here with us
Oh,
today,
thank you.
Eryn. Thank you. Thank you for all you shared and your daily practice. I'm curious if you've been tuning in, which of those are you going to start practicing? The D, the A, the I, the L, the Y, or all five? Let's see. Let's see if you can do it all. And we'd love to hear your comments about that. What resonated with you? What might still be giving you the yes, but we'd love to hear that too. And maybe we can help you become unstuck through that conversation. And maybe you can share also what's working for you, because it might also be sharing a
Yeah.
worthwhile thing to share with others. Thank you all so much for joining us today on Awaken and Ascend. We will see you again next time. And thanks again, Eryn, for being here with us.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's been a
Bye for
pleasure.
now.
Bye.